Blade Runner was released in 1982 and directed by acclaimed sci-fi director Ridley Scott. Harrison Ford and Rutger Hauer play the two lead roles, and the film is set in a not-so-distant future Los Angeles. Harrison Ford plays a special police officer, also known as a Blade Runner, set out to retire 4 replicants escaped off the off-world colony.
There are 7 different versions of Blade Runner, and the version we watched last night was the final cut. And I must say, it was nowhere near as good as I anticipated.
No, it was a bit of a disappointment, wasn't it?
Yep. Well, I know it's a really old film, but you would think that, you know, it would stand a test of time in terms of its pacing and excitement, but...
It was boring.
Yep, that's the one word to describe it.
It was really boring.
It is really good in terms of its effects. It's a, massive, visual experience, you know? The
production value was top-notch.
Yeah. And this was nominated for Best Visual Effects.
What?
Yeah. In my opinion, I reckon it should have won. Well, because E.T. won Best Visual Effects. And you'd think something like this would, you know, get the credit because of, how, detailed everything is.
It's quite disappointing to see movies these days with effects that are half as good as this movie. And this movie was produced in 1982. So, you know, what's that saying? The effects were outstanding. The acting was outstanding.
Yeah. Obviously, Harrison Ford was really good.
Rutger Hauer was also good. Quite sadistic, quite creepy, freaky.
Yeah, weird.
Yeah, there was a few scenes where it was actually quite scary, and he just played that part really well. And
this film is really weird as well.
It's very odd. It's an odd film.
Yeah, especially the climactic scene at the end definitely was really creepy, really sinister, really just flat out weird. And Ridley Scott went a bit over the top, I think, in terms of how violent and dark it was.
So the main problem I had with this film is I didn't know what the bloody hell was happening. It was all over the show. They sit and speak gibberish for 10 minutes. Now, in a movie, you can sit there and speak gibberish for 10 minutes, I don't care. As long as the audience knows what the gibberish is about. They're talking about a load of crap that has nothing to do with the film, has nothing to do with the plot, nothing to do with the story, and they just forget about it, and they move on to the next scene. It's never mentioned again. And it's just a waste of 10 minutes of film. And it's just so boring and repetitive. And, no, every 5 minutes I was looking to Kyle and saying, what's happening? You know, what are they on about? It frustrated my mind.
Yeah. Well, I suppose if you read the cue cards at the start of the movie, you would have obviously understood it more.
I was on the phone.
Yeah, that would be why. But even still, I actually learnt more about the movie by reading the plot on Wikipedia. Yeah. Because when you watch the movie, they talk, like you said, they talk about heaps of stuff, like random stuff, about, I don't know, just random animals and like time and stuff. It's really out of place. And then there's that scene with the villain, you know, whatever his name is, you said his name, I won't say that. Yeah. And he goes into a scene with this Asian guy, and you think he's gonna kill him because you know, it seems like something's gonna build up.
They place eyes all over him. They put eyeballs on him.
And you think, oh, something's gonna happen, but then they're talking about something completely off topic with what the movie's about, and then it cuts away, and you don't see him until halfway through the movie. You know,
there's a unicorn prancing around for half of it. He's sitting in a chair, and there's a unicorn running through the bush. I don't know what that was about. Yeah, they set up. So there's 4 replicants, and they set up. There's one that's a special combat replicant, and it can do all this stuff. And they talk about it for 5 minutes, and then when it comes to the fight scene with this replicant who can do all this amazing stuff, it does a couple cartwheels, and that's about it. And it's just a waste of time. And they just sort of they sort of blow it off, and they sort of waste some good potential fight scenes. Yeah.
Well, the fight scenes, there's hardly any of it.
They fire about 10 shots from the gun. It's boring.
And there's a scene where it's a kind of obvious stunt double. Yeah. Remember that? Ridley Scott's always got heaps of mistakes in his movies anyway.
He does.
But even the action doesn't feel right either. Because like when Harrison Ford kills the first replicant, it like just like walks away like it was nothing, and then he like back to like long dialogue of like useless conversations and all that. But the ending scene or climactic scene is like really like weird and actually pretty freaky. And that was when I was like, oh, this is
the highlight of the movie was the end.
Oh yeah,
action
definitely.
Sort of sequence. But,
yeah.
You know, it was something like out of a James Wan movie. It was quite good. Quite decent.
Yeah.
Righto, Kyle. What do you give this movie?
I'll give this movie a 6 out of 10.
Fair enough.
Well, I think its saving grace is the visual effects and Harrison Ford, obviously. And a couple of decent action scenes. And that's about it.
I would give this movie a solid 5, not a 6. The effects save it at the end of the day. The score, we didn't really touch on the score. That was alright. Acting was alright. The effects, outstanding. But at the end of the day, it was a boring movie. I was sitting there, bored out of my mind. I didn't enjoy watching it. And at the end of the day, if you don't enjoy a movie, what's the movie for? You know, so... But the sequel looks amazing. Blade Runner 2049. Should be good. Hopefully it's 10 times better. Got Ryan Gosling. Should be good.
Yep. Harrison Ford's reprising his role again.
Yep.
Different director, which obviously he should make it a bit more interesting this time. And yeah, but still worth watching. Obviously don't buy it because you sort of waste your money, only if you really like these kind of films. But definitely watch this on Sky Movies or, you know, Netflix, which probably won't be on there anyway.
Well, J&K Movies. Make sure to like this video, subscribe. We'll see you next time. J&K Movies.